Greetings and welcome to NECAT Now, a show where we explore Nashville and Middle Tennessee to tell you all about the great people, places, and events that make Music City so special. I'm your host, Cameron McCasland, coming to you from the NECAT studio right here in Nashville. On today's show, we welcome Jacqueline Merritt, who is an economic development specialist at the U.S. Small Business Administration. The SBA helps Americans start, grow, and build resilient businesses. Ms. Merritt does much of her work at the Tennessee District Office located right here in Nashville. She also can be seen on the NECAT network frequently with Corey Frederick on NPL Means Business. Ms. Merritt, welcome to NECAT Now.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
All is well.
I know you actually had taped another one of your shows earlier today. We do want to talk about that a little bit, but for our audience at home that doesn't know anything about SBA, what is SBA? What do you do? If someone were to be caught in the elevator with you and you had to explain your job, what is that?
SBA stands for Small Business Administration. A lot of people think it stands for Small Business Association.
Yeah.
Today we are an independent federal agency, and we tout ourselves as having the 3 C's and a D. The 3 C's, counseling, capital, and contracting, and the D, disaster loans.
Fantastic. And so, who are the type of people that are showing up at some of your events or at your office trying to get started? Like, what does that person look like?
That person can be in their 20s, and then we have the encore entrepreneurs. Those people who have worked for 20, 30 years, have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and come in after they've retired. And the first question they ask us is, I'm looking to finance the business and I can use my retirement funds. And of course we tell them, no, don't do that. Borrow, get a loan, let your retirement, your pension stay in place.
Yeah, small business is such a funny thing because it's like, I think about, a kid with a lemonade stand is a small business, but then you also have people that have grown these giant corporations out of a small business. So it really can be any type of person, any type of business. Can you give me one of the funnier ones you may have remembered that like just was a little bit different than I don't know, your everyday lemonade stand? Like any just odd businesses that you were just like, oh, that's an interesting idea no one has brought to us before?
At the Small Business Development Center, they provide consulting services free of charge. And a person came in saying that they wanted to have a mobile tavern where the people would get on it and they would pedal. And he was like, no, that wouldn't work in Nashville. Long story short, the next time he's on Broadway, he sees the Pedal Tavern.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone thinking that wouldn't work in this town after all these years, because I feel like at this point people are talking about how there's too many of them.
Yes.
They're everywhere at this point. So that's fascinating.
For the premier one.
Yeah, so I mean, like for that, I know so much of like people coming in for small business, they're looking at it's really their hopes and their dreams they're trying to put together. How do you take that, like that inspirational part of that, but also marry that to the practical side of like, you have to have a business plan, and you have to have a budget, and you have to do those things. How do you help blend those two things together with someone?
Sometimes I can't. Sometimes they say, I don't want to hear all that, I just want to start my business.
Yeah.
But usually they listen because I tell them, just like when you go to the grocery store, you need to have a list. If you don't, you purchase everything except the item for which you intended to purchase.
Yeah.
So we talk about the business plan consisting of 4 questions. Where am I now? Where do I want to go? How do I plan to get there? And how will I know when I'm there? And it revolves around money, management, and marketing. And believe it or not, some people spend more time planning a summer vacation than they do starting a business.
Why do you think that is? Because I run into that here too. Same thing when people are making television shows. Like they want to be on TV, but they don't realize the work that goes into that. And that usually is the part that makes or breaks people. I mean, why do you think it is so important to spend that time planning beforehand as opposed to figuring it out as you go?
You don't want to build the plane while you're flying it.
Yeah.
You want it to be a success. If you're going to make mistakes, you want to make mistakes on paper and not in real life. So you want to look at the economy, you want to look at the cash flow, you want to look at the skill and knowledge of your management team, you want to look at your customer base, the demographics, who are they, the geographics, where are they, the psychographics, what are they thinking.
And I know you're based here in Nashville, but the SBA is nationwide.
Nationwide, and some states, due to the territory, have several offices: California, Texas, Florida.
If they want to find out more about how they can get started, what website would they go to kind of get that information?
The national website is www.sba.gov, like Victor. But if they want to go to a state website, they can do the same, www.sba.gov/GA for Georgia, MS for Mississippi, TN for Tennessee. Gets a little more hairy with California and Texas, but just put in Texas, El Paso, Texas SBA office, and it will come up with the one there.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will hear more from our guest, Jacqueline Merritt, and her work at the U.S. Small Business Administration. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know Metro Arts and Nashville Public Library have a free lending library? Library card holders can choose from a selection of artworks by local Nashville artists and borrow for up to 3 months. The collection includes framed paintings, photographs, and mixed media. After 3 months, bring the artwork back and borrow a different piece. Available at Donaldson, East, Green Hills, Hermitage, Madison, Old Hickory, and Southeast branches of Nashville Public Library. For more information and to browse the collection online, please visit library.nashville.gov.
What's NECAT?
A place for anyone.
Sure. NECAT Network.
That's Nashville Education, Community, and Arts Television.
Everyone knows that.
But did they know that NECAT runs 3 television stations that serve counties all over Middle Tennessee?
We know that! But what a lot of people don't know is that NECAT is also an active community partner.
That's right. We're more than a television network. We love Nashville, and we love supporting as many organizations any way we can.
From Friends Life to Nashville Predators Foundation, NECAT provides studio access and training to help community organizations. So when you think of NECAT,
remember, we're way more than a television station.
We're Nashville.
Thank you, Predators!
Welcome back to NECAT Now. If you're just now joining us today, our guest is Jacqueline Merritt for the U.S. Small Business Administration. I know you are always so busy helping people get these small businesses off the ground, but one of the things, kind of how I came to meet you, is the stuff that you had done with the Nashville Public Library and the work that you do there. You do a monthly situation called, will you tell what it's called and how you go about it?
NPL means business, and we so appreciate y'all inviting us to collaborate with y'all on it, where we talk about business subjects, whether it's social media, financial management, SBA, USDA loans, the 3 C's of SBA. We cover a variety of subjects.
And that's all done digitally or like online?
Virtually, and it's a lunch and learn, 12 noon to 1 o'clock, where we share the information.
Yeah, I always thought that was a great program, just to the idea that, like, no matter where you are, like say if you're eating your McDonald's in the car and just have that time between, you can sit there on your phone or on your laptop, listen in. You can ask questions live, through the chat or through voice, but also just to get some of that information if you're just thinking about starting a small business. What are some of the kind of topics that you might cover on those monthlies that you do with the library? I know you've had, like I said, you mentioned the social media, but like some of the different types of subjects that they may learn if they show up every month.
Oh, if they show up every month, there's always a guest, the IRS, a taxpayer advocate, and they talk about the services that they offer. And sometimes there's someone on from the U.S., from the Small Business Administration disaster team, because we have numerous disasters now, and a lot of people do not know, along with our disaster loans for physical disaster, a building being impacted, losing inventory, there's an economic injury disaster loan for if something obstructs your cash flow, like a rock slide and the interstate being closed and people cannot get to your hotel, your convenience mart. Someone from ODRR, Office of Disaster Recovery and Resilience. So when you come on, you never know who might be there.
That's fantastic. I want to real quick read this for our viewers at home. The fun fact for our viewers, the SBA was founded in 1953 by President Dwight Eisenhower. This followed in response to the Great Depression in both World War II and the Korean War, giving Americans a chance to get back up on their feet. For over 70 years now, the SBA has been able to preserve free competitive enterprise and to maintain and strengthen the nation's economy. 70 years is a long time to be at this. It is really interesting to think that, like, my grandparents could have benefited from this back then. But so you're talking about multi-generations of Americans. Why do you think the SBA is so important to America and all the people that it's touched over these years?
Small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, and it's good to have a strong middle class. The strong middle class pays the taxes. So it's just good business for the gross national product and everything else.
I've known so many people that have had small businesses who did not exactly know what they were doing. You know what I mean? It's like they go into it, they run into it with a little pile of money and say, I'm going to put this there because I love it, with no research and development done, no idea that anybody wants the type of product that they're trying to sell. What are the kind of skill sets that, you know, it's like, again, that like you think are important for someone to look at before they ever decide to spend that first dime? What do they need to be looking at?
We've heard the saying, it takes a village.
Yeah.
And it really does. And we encourage people to hire to their weaknesses, not their strengths. If you're charming, charismatic, and affable, you need to hire an introvert to answer the phone, respond to the emails, look at the invoices, and be in the back room. You need to look for a management team, people who have skills that you don't. You need to look at the cash flow, whether you want to fund it with some of your monies, whether you want to get a loan. You need to know that your customer base isn't everybody, and you need to establish a target market. So those are a few things that a person would need to do.
I know whenever I was much younger, in my college days, I used to run a snow cone stand for a person. And I was one of two employees that he had, and it was so interesting because it was a, you know, he made the ice, he brought it there, I made it during the day. At the end of the day, did all the counts for everything, from cups to the money to all that. And I remember thinking at the time there was so much work that went into that small business that he had to keep records for tax reasons and all that. It really did give me a perspective on things going forward. And again, now I see, you know, people that run these big corporations and just all that goes into that. And like you said, kind of the same way that I tell people when it comes to producing television here, hire people that are smarter than you and better at it than you are, and you will come out doing very well.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we run into a number of people who are experts in their trade. Physicians, for example, they've gone to medical school, they know how to do the examinations and the surgery, but do they know how to run an office?
Right.
And to deal with insurance and invoicing the patients. A lot goes into it, and a lot of people do it so effortlessly. Some people think it's easy, and that's why they want to forego the business plan, because when you're master of your game, you do it without a lot of effort. A lot goes on behind the closed doors.
Absolutely.
While you're sleeping, they're still up.
I love that. Well, once more, we're going to need to take a quick break here on NECAT Now, but stay with us to find out more about how you can start your own small business with the help of the SBA and our guest, Miss Jacqueline Merritt. We'll be right back on NECAT Now.
Hi, I'm Barkley Randall, video media teacher at McGavock High School in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are watching NECAT, Nashville Education Community Arts Television. NECAT is committed to education through television, where students like ours can take their first steps to a career in film and TV. To find out more about NECAT, visit them on the web at necatnetwork.org. And to learn more about McGavock High School and our wonderful students, visit us on the web at mcgavock.mnps.org.
Go Raiders! Hi, I'm Corey Frederick from the Goodlettsville Branch Library. Did you know that you could get a free library card at any Nashville Public Library branch or online at library.nashville.gov?
Welcome back once again to NECAT Now. I'm your host, Cameron McCasland, in conversation with my guest, Jacqueline Merritt from the SBA. Ms. Merritt, I want to give you the opportunity to talk to our viewers at home about the idea of starting a business. If they have got an idea in their head about something that they can do or think that they want to do, what is the first steps and what do they need to come prepared with before they come speak to you?
They can just come with an idea. And one lady came with an idea that she wanted flavored popcorn. And of course, I thought that was the best idea because I'm a foodie and I like flavors.
Yeah.
The first thing you want to do, come with an idea. And if you want to, we can send you a copy of a business plan template where you can complete it to the best degree of your knowledge. Because as a person, the average person is a consumer.
Right.
They're not thinking like an entrepreneur. They're not looking at what's going on abroad, knowing that it impacts the here and now. They're not looking at when the Federal Reserve Board meets and looking at whether they're increasing the interest rate, lowering it, or it remaining the same. They may not know the name of the Federal Reserve Board chair. All that you need to know. Come with an idea. We have resources that will help you brainstorm that idea. We have the Small Business Development Center associated with college and university campuses throughout the state, throughout the nation. We have SCORE chapters, groups of volunteers that have potpourri of expertise where you can read their bios on the SCORE website. We have women's business centers that have an emphasis on the women-owned small business community.
Yeah.
Even they do assist men. And we have a veterans business entrepreneur center that assists military members and spouses of such individuals. So just come with an idea and we will discuss what we have that can assist you turn that idea into reality by implementing it.
It sounds like there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of avenues for every type of person that you could think of there. If they wanted, again, to take that first step, how do they get in touch with you?
They would get in touch with me by either calling 615-736-7465, 615-736-7465. That's the direct number. Or they can email me, long email address, Jacqueline, spelled the 1965 way, named after Jacqueline Kennedy, JACQUELINE .Merritt, 2 R's and 2 T's, MERRITT, at SBA for Small Business Administration .gov.
And we'll put all that up on the screens for everyone so they can
Okay.
take a picture with their phone and type it all in and everything.
Okay.
So that'd be fun. Yeah, it's like I look at that and just kind of go like, what a great opportunity for someone who, again, just like you said, like someone who may be at retirement age and want to start something to kind of generate some income. You may have some young entrepreneurs who are just looking at like, hey, I don't want to go work a 9-to-5 job. I want to work for myself, and how that kind of works. That seems very empowering to me because you're giving people opportunity, again, to try something on their own. And really, you're seeking to swim on your own idea a lot of times. And you're not only your idea, but just the merit in which you put into something like that. What do you think makes a good small business owner as far as like the know-how and the wherewithal to not only start something but to keep it going for days and years to come?
An entrepreneur has to believe in themselves. They have to start a business that's their core, that's their passion, that's their bliss. Because when you work for 6 months and you haven't made a dime, you need to have the fortitude to get up the next day and go back at it.
Yeah.
So a strong will, determination, tenacity, endurance, stamina, and you need to be open to add people to your team. Like you mentioned, hire people smarter than you, have a village. Right now, if I started a business, I know people that I would want to be on my team, and I know why.
Yeah. I think, through all of this, and just kind of go like, well, where do I start is always the hardest part. But then it's like when you're in it, knowing like, how do I get these question answers? So can you talk to me about some of the support that you guys offer when it comes to like, hey, I'm 6 months into this business, but I've got tax seasons coming up and I don't have all the answers. If they call you, are they going to be able to get those answers or get pointed in the right direction?
Pointed in the right directions with our resources.
Yeah.
The Small Business Development Center has some on-demand courses, as do all of our resources. Some of them are on taxes, all sorts of subjects. So we have the resources and the people who can respond to the inquiries.
So I think that that's just so important to know. It's like there's a space that's like they can come see you in person. They can learn online digitally. They can listen, in on the monthly series of the library, the television show that airs here on NECAT, where you and Corey are talking about a lot of these same topics, but in a more visual medium, so people can kind of follow along with that. It is just so impactful, I think, to see all of the different resources that go into it, and whatever type of learning that you take, because I know some people they want to listen in their car, and some people want to watch it at home on TV, and some people need to come into the office and have that conversation. So I think that's super important. But one more time, we're going to have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more from Jacqueline Merritt and the SBA on NECAT Now after these messages. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you dream of opening your own business?
Do you have a side hustle that you want to take to the next level?
What if I told you that your local library has free resources to get you started?
Because at Nashville Public Library, we mean business.
What is NPL Means Business? It's an initiative that seeks to create a more diverse and motivated entrepreneurial ecosystem in Nashville, with the library being an essential player in helping Nashville citizens discover and realize their dream business.
So what do? We offer classes, book discussion clubs, print resources, business-related databases, as well as a book a librarian service, which allows entrepreneurs to make appointments with staff who can direct them to the resources they need. Classes and programs are delivered through Nashville Public Library, as well as in conjunction with community partners, including the Small Business Association.
To find out more, visit your local library location or go to library.nashville.org.
Welcome back to NECAT Now. Today we've been learning about the U.S. Small Business Administration with SBA's Jacqueline Merritt. Jacqueline, I know, again, there's so much going on, but I want to take a moment to talk about your television show that you do here with Corey Frederick, NPL Means Business. You guys are in season 2 at this point. You've covered a lot of ground. Tell me a little bit about how that show came together.
Well, NPL Means Business, we started physically in libraries. And now we're doing those virtually. And then it's like, oh, come to the NECAT and we'll tape some sessions. So we've talked about SBA guaranteed loans. We've talked about the basics of government contracting. We've talked about business planning. We've talked about a number of subjects over the years.
Yeah, I know that, it feels like about a year and a half ago at this point, I think that we started taping those here at the same studio that we're taping this show right now.
That's right.
And it has been interesting to see all those kind of get put together, and just the idea of oh, this is growing and we're talking about the same thing in a different way. But I think what's interesting about the show that's as opposed to your monthly that you're doing at the library, that's live and in person and people can come talk. Where the show, it's once you tape it, it's there and it runs 2 or 3 times a week forever, it seems like. So they may run into you in the grocery store and go, I saw you on TV and you were talking about this. You go, oh, I did that 6 months ago. You know what I mean? It's so, but I think it's interesting because people are learning from that every single day. And it is great to see the kind of the way in which that has moved from an in-person event to a digital event to a television program. And I'm certain that from there, it'll probably take another form on at some point and turn into something different. But I also want to ask about, kind of some things that are coming up with SBA. I know there's some annual events that you guys do, and I know you just also finished a big event. So I want to give you an opportunity to talk about those 2 things and again, what should people be looking out for the future if they've just started their small business?
Okay. We celebrated National Small Business Week, May 8th. And it was celebrated across the nation. And we had business owners, Person of the Year, Woman-Owned Small Business of the Year, various categories. And we want the applications in usually by December of the previous year.
Yeah.
So the applications were submitted by December 2024, and then we had the grand celebration May 8th. It was held at Belmont University. 200 plus people were in attendance. It was a grand occasion because our small business are integral to the American economy. We want to keep them strong. And in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The father said, as opposed to writing a resume and getting a job for yourself, write a business plan and create jobs for others. That's what it's really about.
Yeah, I've always had that mindset where I guess the first time I understood it were like when you have a business or you have a project where you're leading it, it's just the idea of like, oh, I have to do this not because I want to succeed for myself, but I need to keep all these other people employed. And you take on that responsibility of like, you feel as if their family is your family, and you want to make sure that their kids have sneakers and Christmas presents and all the other stuff. And I do think that that's a thing that a lot of people don't think about when they first go into it. Of it's not just you, but it's everybody else that you bring with you. So that's super interesting. And again, it's like so. That happens, like you said, in May, and then. But if people want to get involved with that, they need to get all of their information in by December. So we assume that'll come back around this year again. So something to think about.
It will come back around, and we get our resources to submit applications. Chambers of Commerce submit applications. Churches, a number of churches have a CDC. They can submit applications. So we get the applications. We convene a committee to go through those applications. We rate them based on certain standards, and we pick our top 3 picks, and then we narrow it down to that one for a category.
When it comes to small businesses that have started in Nashville, do you have any idea of how many you've helped launch at this point?
I do not have the statistics, but it's been 35 years in. So I would think it's a nice number.
Yeah, I would imagine in the thousands at this point.
Yeah, it may be.
Yeah,
it may be.
That's wild to think of. Any that you can think top of head that are still around from 35 years ago?
One that is still around. It's been sold to another person. Mama Turney's Pies.
Okay.
Where they came to us seeking commercial equipment for the kitchen. The wife had burned out various stoves because she was preparing the pies at home, and they needed the commercial equipment. They came to us. They are still around. Kroger is one of the distributors of Mama Turney's Pies, and Michael Turney and his spouse have since sold the business, but that business is still around.
That's pretty incredible. And it is such a neat thing for you, I would assume, to be part of that, like that initial conversation process, to see it come to life, and then to be able to, I'm sure you frequented some of these businesses and went and seen how it's all set up and everything. So what a joy that must be.
It is a true joy, especially because Michael Turney's business as in the barbecue industry did not go well.
Yeah.
And so-called friend said, you think you're going to get rich baking pies? There are always those naysayers when somebody wants to take the entrepreneurial plunge, and to see the success of where he was laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, and I think it's important there, too, to think about the idea of just because the first one doesn't go, don't be afraid to try it again.
You've learned a lot.
Ms. Merritt, thank you so much for being with us today. I've really enjoyed this conversation. That's about all the time we have today for NECAT Now. I hope you've enjoyed exploring Nashville with us. To find out more about our show and how you can start your very own television show here at Nashville Education Community Arts Television, visit us on the web at necatnetwork.org. Until next time, I'm Cameron McCasland signing off from NECAT Now from beautiful Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. Good night.